The Jedi justify their galactic dominance in the name of peace. And peace
is a lie, I know.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my full Star Wars Acolyte Episode 2 video. There's a whole bunch of Easter eggs. I think we've actually figured out who that Sith Master is. There's some pretty solid evidence after this episode, just because a lot of characters are saying the same things and acting the same way. But there's still a couple big mysteries about what's really going on, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, I'll be doing videos for all the episodes. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. The episode title is Revenge/Justice, a reference to May's quest for revenge, Kill Bill style. They did say the series was partially inspired by Kill Bill, with her revenge mission to go around and kill all the 4 Jedi that she blames for the fire that killed her coven of witches. Remember, at least up until the end of the episode, she also thought that fire also killed her sister Osha, so both of the sisters thought that each one had died during the fire. And it's also a reference to Osha's quest to find justice for what May did, because she believed this whole time that May was the one who started the fire, and now she knows that May has been going around killing all these Jedi, so she's trying to find justice for that. When in fact May's conversation with Master Torben during the episode makes it seem like the 4 Jedi she's trying to kill bear at least some responsibility for the fire itself. It wasn't all May's fault.
Forgive me. We thought we were doing the right thing.
Thus, the plot thickens. The opening scene starts with her on the planet Olega, which is another brand new place they created for the series. They also confirmed that this is what her ship looks like she's been using this whole time. We saw it during episode 1 too. She uses that local girl to distract the droid manning the security door to get inside, very reminiscent of the droid manning Jabba's palace. The reason why she's able to just breeze through the Jedi Temple freely without others suspecting her as she walks by is because she's probably masking her dark side signature so that they don't pick up her aura as she's walking past them. It's kind of the same way Emperor Palpatine was able to stand next to Yoda, be so close to him and the Jedi Temple for so long, and Yoda being so powerful but not being able to realize that the Sith Master was right next to him this whole time. That's one of the Sith's many abilities. As I said, this Jedi Master she's after is named Torben, who took a vow of silence, essentially, after the tragedy that killed May and Osha's family, in this posting deep in the Outer Rim for the past 10 years, to essentially punish himself, like it's penance that he's trying to serve himself for what he thinks he did. He's been seeking forgiveness, and it sounds like he knew that May was alive this whole time, so that obviously makes things even more complicated.
I've been waiting for you.
When he apologizes to her and says that they thought they were doing the right thing, he definitely makes it seem like those 4 Jedi were responsible for the fire, but I think we'll find that it was more complicated than that. Because so far, everybody in this equation, everybody that was at that fire, seems to think that somebody else lit the fire. So I think the real reveal in episode 3, when we get a flashback, will probably be that things were way more complicated, and that none of the different parties that think that they were responsible were fully responsible. I also kind of think this might have something to do with that Sith Master. This might be part of the long-term Sith plot too, pulling some strings. This whole scene of her trying to break through his force barrier, first created by his deep meditative state, pretty cool visualization, but it's only by playing on his guilt over what happened that May is able to get through to him, and she's only able to kill him because he chooses to die of his own accord by taking the poison himself. So I think the idea is that she never would have been able to kill him in a regular one-on-one fight. That's a callback to what the Sith Master said about not trying to fight the Jedi with regular weapons or lightsabers. Very interesting because Heir also says something kind of similar, like every Jedi has a weakness, you're just not thinking about it hard enough. We get a scene of Osha bonding with Jeki Lon, where she says only R2 droids do ship repair work outside the hull. I think that's meant to be a callback to R2-D2's introduction during Phantom Menace. Then we meet Manny Jacinto's smuggler character, Heir, who seems like he's also working as a traitor helping the Sith Master and May because he has history with May, like he's been going around the galaxy with her, helping her on her revenge quest to kill these Jedi. It seems like he's known her for a long time and known about the Sith Master for a long time too, which also seems pretty rare too. Normally you would expect a Sith who's trying to stay under the radar to kill anyone who might remember them. So even if he's not Sith himself, he just seems like he's a servant of the Sith Master tangentially. Notice he also refers to the Sith Master as a he, so he thinks that it's a male, but here's the thing. A lot of people that think that Manny Jacinto is the real Sith Master, and he's just acting like a fool here to throw everyone off. I think the helmet with the teeth is meant to come off by episode 4, so I think we'll learn their identity pretty soon regardless. But if you look at this scene here, the Sith Master towers over May and Osha because they're meant to be the same height. Manny Jacinto seems like he's about the same amount taller than May here, so I think the odds that he is the Sith Master are pretty good. There's also the fact that he gives similar advice to May about killing the Jedi Master, how to do it best, as the Sith Master did during episode 1 fighting Jedi just in general. Also the fact that he quotes the Sith mantra to her, "Peace is a lie." There's also the fact that the Sith helmet that the Sith Master is wearing has the smile, like the smile of the fool, quote-unquote, with Manny Jacinto's character playing a bit of the fool persona. So it just seems like so many things are lining up for him to be that secret Sith Master. You can let me know in the comments if you think he is the Sith Master and he's just playing the fool to throw everyone off the set, including May, at least for now, because it does seem like eventually they will reveal their true identity. He implies he killed the local apothecary that owns this place for the purposes of helping May. Like, I got this outfit off the person that actually owns this place. R.I.P. to whoever that is. He makes her the Bunta poison based on the same kind that she and Osha used on their homeworld during hunting expeditions, meaning that May has told him about her homeworld if he hasn't been there himself too. We don't really know how far back the two of these characters go. The Wookiee he mentions she needs to kill next is Kelnaka, the Wookiee Jedi Master we see at the end of the episode who's been living on that forest planet, kind of Yoda style in seclusion. She also says there are 2 Jedi after Torben. One of them would be Kelnaka. The other one might be Sol, because we know that Sol was there the day of the fire, and she also thinks that he was responsible.
I have 2 Jedi to kill after Torben, and I will kill one of them without a weapon and please the Master.
When May says she can only please her Sith Master by killing a Jedi without a weapon, that's part of a long-standing Sith ritual, how they acquire their Kyber crystal they need to make their own Sith lightsabers. They had to take the lightsaber crystal from a Jedi that they killed without a weapon, like she says, and bleed the crystal red. So this whole act of killing the 4 Jedi is part of May's trials to become a Sith. She probably won't be considered fully Sith until she does that, everything to the letter. In her final act in becoming a Sith, that does really come to pass, that people are expecting a big twist, like what if the sisters flip and Osha winds up being the one to go dark? Assuming that May still tries to become full Sith, her final act would theoretically be creating her own Sith lightsaber, but we'll see if that's the way things go down. There might be a bigger twist with who winds up being the one to actually go dark. Kymir's quote about the lies of the Jedi in the name of peace is a callback to the Sith Code and the Jedi Code, which was created for the Knights of the Old Republic game. The Sith Code was. It was meant to be a twist on the classic Jedi Code. It says, "Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The Force shall free me." Even though it sounds really cool, the interesting thing about the Sith Code is that it's also kind of a lie too, because the person who actually wrote it for the Knights of the Old Republic game based part of it on Mein Kampf by Hitler, the book that Hitler wrote. So already, red flashing warning lights like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Anybody who claims to advocate for freedom while committing so many atrocities in real life probably doesn't really want to help you achieve any kind of real freedom. I think it's a good reminder that both the Jedi and the Sith kind of have it wrong, like the way they portray them across all the different live-action Star Wars properties, even the Clone Wars episodes too. People like Ahsoka or the Bendu probably have things a little more correctly if you're talking about the true philosophy. Existence is a little bit more about balance, like accepting everything, both the bad, the good, the dark, and the light. Grogu is kind of also pursuing the same type of path right now, like he's not pursuing the Jedi path, so theoretically he has the ability to become even greater than the Jedi. Sol's whole comment, clocking Osha's tattoo, will also probably become a thing later, like it'll probably become handy. Maybe May will try to pretend to be Osha and trick them, but they'll notice that the markings on their arms are different. Usually that's why they have scenes like that, like, oh wow, you have things that make you look different from your identical twin sister. Isn't it weird that you've not seen each other all these years, yet you have the exact same haircut? I saw a lot of people asking questions about that after episode 1, like, if they haven't seen each other all this long, why do they look exactly the same, like to a T? Wouldn't they have slightly different haircuts? That's more of a convenience of television shows that try to pull twists on you like this, like, aha, it's not the evil twin, it's the good twin. Osha says that she was with Sol the day of the fire, so I think we can rule Sol out as having any blame in what happened, unless he's also lying too, and I don't think that's totally the case. Torben seems convinced that he and the others did do something though, so they did have some responsibility. There are a couple funny scenes with Yord, like they really want to make him seem like a tool. Dudes in stories like this they use this way either go one of two ways by the end of the season. They eventually either chill out and become wiser, like they become cooler, or they become super dark and twisted and even more hardcore. Think about the Cyril Karn character from Andor, like he could also head in that direction too if he doesn't become more chill. That'd be like the Darkest Timeline version of him. He turns more into a Cyril Karn kind of character, becoming more hardcore. A lot of people theorizing also that he'll be one of the characters to go dark by the end of the series. I don't know if that's totally the case. That would be a cool twist though. He also gives us our first "I've got a bad feeling about this" during the series.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Seems like a long-standing tradition now that like every single Star Wars series has somebody say that line at some point. It also seems like they're using the Jeki Lawn character as an Ahsoka type, like during the Clone Wars, she was meant to be this clever young Padawan who always had good ideas on missions that they would take during the Clone Wars. Like, no, we should do things this way, it'd be way, way better. It seems like Chimere clocks that Osha is not May within moments and just kind of plays along to mess with her because he is absolutely fascinated. So maybe May has talked about her dead sister, or she thought that she was dead until she shows up. So that's why he's so surprised, like, wow, you look just like her. When he seemingly gives up info on May too, throwing her under the bus to save himself, it maybe he's just playing a fool to throw them off so that Osha will wind up running into May, like maybe he wants that to happen. Master Sol also saying, "I must face May alone," is a callback to Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader's line during A New Hope, saying that they had to confront each other alone. We meet again. This time, I am the Master, even though she's not quite the Master yet. You can make that classic line, but there's no way she's even close to becoming a Sith Master, so it doesn't work quite as well for her character's reunion with Sol. But I would say the Sol versus May fight is better than the Matrix-style kung fu fight with Carrie-Anne Moss. Sol just seems like a more capable fighter, disarming May way quicker. What I'm expecting, though, is because they're using this new type of kung fu wire-style fighting scenes, like classic kung fu fights for this new Star Wars series, is that they got better with each episode. Like the team making the fight scenes, the choreography, probably got better over time, so we'll probably see some better fights by the end of the finale. It's not totally clear why May thinks Osha died in that fire. Everybody on both sides of this, like I said, seems like they saw totally different things that day, so we'll have to wait for episode 3 to get a bigger flashback for the full story. I think episode 3 is when we see that. Osha does have a moment of hesitation and misses May with her blaster, but I don't think she intentionally let her escape. But I think their sisterly relationship will continue to get more complicated because of that forced Zoom call energy that they had in episode 1. That kind of thing will probably continue through the series as they begin to reconnect through the Force. I'm also expecting Osha to eventually start practicing the Force again, like start training again, so that her Force skills will rise and she'll be able to actually face May. Like we'll see them have a Force battle at some point. This whole scene at the end, though, with Vernestra Rwoh wanting them to come back to Coruscant for a very long-winded meeting in the Council is one of the reasons why the Jedi were so easy for the Sith's plan to succeed over the centuries. They want to make it seem like the Jedi had grown so top-heavy with bureaucracy that there was no way that they could move fast enough to respond to all the different threats that were coming at them. Political threats, as well as like more literal threats like the Sith. As Sol said, they knew exactly where May was headed. She was going to Kofur to try and find Kelnaka, so they could have actually caught her much sooner, potentially. Like this whole Jedi Council meeting could have been an email kind of vibe situation. Chimere then says he'll take May to Kofur, that Force planet where Kelnaka, the Wookiee Jedi, has been living in seclusion since the tragedy, it seems like. Makes you think a lot of Yoda living on Dagobah in seclusion. But I think the idea is that he's been living in seclusion on Kofur because he also feels guilty about what happened during the day of that tragedy with the fire. And we get a little tag scene teasing him at the end, scaring off some scavengers who are speaking Huttese. The reason why they're speaking Huttese is because it seems like the Hutts control this area of space where the planet exists, so their language would just be common amongst all the smugglers, the traders, anybody who does business in this part of the galaxy. They kind of got into this during The Mandalorian too, like Mando speaks Huttese too when he's on a lot of missions in the Outer Rim, just because the Hutts have a much bigger presence in the Outer Rim. Love the way Kelnaka also snaps their blaster rifle in half. That's just regular Wookiee strength there. He doesn't even need Jedi skills to do that. If you didn't realize too, he's played by Jonas, the actor who also does Chewbacca in the newer movies in Black Chrysanthemum during Boba Fett. It seems like the wreckage that he walks into here, this ship is his ship, and he's just been living here on purpose though, but he hasn't been stranded or anything like that, like he's chosen to live in exile here. Overall, it was a pretty short episode, but I think it was better than episode 1. In the way people are talking about it, the people who have seen up to episode 4 say that episode 4 ends on a much better WTF kind of moment, so I think the series does get a little bit better episode to episode. We will see. My full episode 3 video will post next week after they release it, just because there's so much stuff going on. If there are any Easter eggs or references in the episode that you spotted that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them below in the comments. There's a bunch of big stuff coming up. My Boys Season 4 episodes and my House of the Dragon Season 2 episodes will also start next week too. So June and July are going to be stacked with big series. Everybody click here for my Acolyte Episode 1 video and click here for my House of the Dragon Season 2 trailer video and Easter eggs. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.